Hey guys, Justin with 1791. Thanks for watching. Today, we're taking another step down the educational series of Hard to Kill, and today we're looking at the term dead man's gun, and we're going to dive into that. So let's get into it. So what is a dead man's gun? A dead man's gun is essentially an unloaded gun that would otherwise be counted on for preservation of life, i.e. carrying without a round in the chamber. Now, we're going to get into why it's so important to carry with around the chamber, but really before we get into that, I want to talk about why are we even talking about this. If I had any guess, most of you that are watching this video, you're probably of the mindset of, I carry with around in the chamber. Why is this even relevant? This is really important because you most likely know somebody that carries a gun without a round in the chamber. And we're going to talk about why that's so dangerous. So, if you are a concealed carrier and you already carry with a round in the chamber, please, please, please share this video with people that you know that don't carry with a round in the chamber. Because chances are, if you've already had trouble trying to explain to them why it's so important, maybe this video will help seal the deal and get them out there carrying with a round in the chamber. Real quick before we move on, go ahead and comment down below if you carry with a round in the chamber, and if not, why? Why are you not carrying with a round in the chamber? So please comment that down below. So to start off, let's talk about the speed difference. Now, I'll state real quick that there's not a huge speed difference with carrying around the chamber, at least when I test it, compared to carrying with a round in the chamber. For instance, my average draw time to draw, cycle the slide, and get 2 rounds on target, that was about 2.17 seconds off the shot timer. A draw and getting 2 shots off into the target on the shot timer for me was 1.55 seconds from chambered. So that's a difference of 0.62 seconds. So we'll go ahead and round that down to about a half second time difference. But you got to remember, like, this is most certainly not my first rodeo racking the slide. I would argue that someone that's not carrying with a round in the chamber, if their plan is to rack the slide upon draw, it may take them a little bit more of a time delay versus my time delay of 0.62 seconds between those 2 draws. So just keep that in the back of your mind. Last week, if you guys saw, we did a video about the importance of movement and the time difference between moving and then getting into a new position, drawing and shooting, and how important that is and how important movement is. And the reason why movement is important and why I'm willing to make a sacrifice of time, a very small sacrifice of time to gain a superior tactical advantage, how big of a deal that is, and why, like, I'm less worried about I believe it was a 0.48 second difference between stand and deliver, draw and shoot, versus getting off the line, drawing and shooting. We'll go ahead and show you that real quick here. It takes me on average about 1.5 seconds, like average 1.7 seconds to draw and fire from a standing static position. It takes me about 2.18 seconds on average to get off the line, draw, and shoot. Now, time is important, right? Time is a consideration. But Sometimes it is more advantageous to sacrifice a little bit of time to gain a tactical advantage, right? If I sacrifice, what is that, like less than half a second, right? I believe the difference is 0.48 seconds between a static draw versus getting off the line and drawing. For me, I would much rather sacrifice 0.48 seconds in the speed of a draw to gain a massive tactical advantage in that fight, because again, action always beats reaction. Now, that is a sacrifice of time that is useful in my opinion, because I may be giving up 0.48 seconds in that arena. In turn, I'm gaining a massive tactical advantage. Now, go ahead and you guys comment down below what tactical advantage is gained by not carrying around in the chamber. You go ahead and comment down below and let me know what you think. So, if you answered zero tactical advantage gained, you would be correct. There is no tactical advantage. In fact, you're actually giving up a lot of tactical advantages by not carrying with around in the chamber. So you are then, by pure logic, then sacrificing time and tactics for the sake of something that we don't really like. We can't logically make a good case for it. For instance, you're giving up the ability to do a one-handed draw. Yes, some of you may be able to rack the slide off of your belt, which is a good training tip. Just take the rear sight, rack it off of your belt or your belt buckle. You're sacrificing an offhand draw. For instance, if your primary shooting hand is disabled and you need to draw your weapon with your non-fighting hand, it is going to be a lot more difficult to get that gun out and get it chambered. You're also sacrificing the compressed draw, like if you're in a bad breath distance, kind of a grappling type of fight. The chances of you having your non-fighting hand free and able to rack the slide is almost non-existent, because you're most likely going to be trying to either grab a knife that might be coming for you, or you're trying to, like, maybe you got the guy in a collar tie or something. Anyways, all that to say, like, if you don't have a round in the chamber and you're grappling with someone, you're in a bad spot. Yes, that's a bad situation to be in. So there's also the OODA loop issue to take into consideration. Last week we talked about the OODA loop. I'm not going to get into the full nuts and bolts of that. If you're curious about the OODA loop, I'll have a link in the description below talking about the OODA loop. Suffice it to say, you have observe, orient, decide, act. Everyone has their own human reaction time loop that they're working through, right? So observing the bad guy, orienting yourself to be able to confront the bad guy, making a decision on what to do for D, and then A is act. And the bad guy has his own OODA loop that he's working through already, and he is an ambush predator. He's already got you beat to the punch, and he's already taking action. So if you're working within this OODA loop conundrum, which you are, everyone goes through thousands upon thousands of OODA loops every day. It's just making a decision. If you don't carry with a round in the chamber and you draw your firearm to defend yourself, most assuredly you're probably going to draw and squeeze the trigger. And then it's going to go click. And now you've just upset your own OODA loop, because you weren't expecting it to go click. You were expecting it to go bang because you're untrained. So then you're going to have to stop and think, like, oh yeah, I have to rack a round into the chamber. And unfortunately, by that time, the likelihood of you having some hot lead in your belly is pretty high. This is essentially an untrained response, because you haven't trained appropriately to be able to react in that environment. So what does proper concealed carry look like? Proper concealed carry is a fully loaded magazine and a round in the chamber that is carried in a good quality holster that covers the trigger guard. Like this BH holster here real quick. So this BH holster, this is one of the holsters that I like really good, especially for fall carry. It is a pancake style holster that sucks the pistol good and tight to your body. It's outside the waistband, so if you're carrying with a heavier garment, this is not that big of a deal to access the pistol. Covers the trigger guard fully, has good retention. That's a great option. So essentially, in the absence of a safety, your holster is the safety because it covers the trigger guard, because there is safety mechanisms that are inherently related to and linked to the actuation of the trigger, like Glock's famous safe action trigger, things like that. So for those of you who carry a pistol that has a safety, if you're of the mindset that, like, well, if I carry it in a holster, I don't need to use the safety, let's have a conversation about that. So after I got out of the Navy, I started doing my undergrads. I was going to school full time, and then I was simultaneously working at a gun store full time. And while I was working at the gun store, I can't tell you how many times people came in shopping for a pistol, and they found a pistol that they liked that fit their grip well, and they really kind of dig the trigger and all the things. They like everything about it, but they're like, it has a safety though. And then the next thing I heard out of their mouth so consistently was like, well, I'll just carry it with a round in the chamber, but the safety off, because it's in a holster. I don't need the safety. Now, the problem with that logic is this. I'm assuming at some point, pretty much all of you guys have been introduced to Murphy, right? Murphy, from Murphy's Law, anything that can happen will happen. Chances are actually really high if you carry with a round in the chamber and you carry with the safety disengaged. When you go to draw that thing and you really need it, it's going to be on safety, because like maybe your clothing or a little bit of like your dad bod brushed up against the safety and then actuated it from fire into the safety position, and then we go back into that self-licking ice cream cone of the OODA loop. The OODA loop of OODA loops, where like you pulled you drew the firearm, you squeezed the trigger didn't go bang, or the gun didn't go bang, and then you're kind of stuck in that OODA loop of like, what happened? How do I fix it? And then you're trying to diagnose something when you shouldn't have to be diagnosing something. What is better is to train your muscle memory to where every time, if my gun has a safety, every time I draw that pistol, I'm going to draw, disengage the safety as I'm coming up into my presentation, and then I'm going to fire. And then when you're finished shooting, you're going to take your finger off the trigger, put the weapon on safety, do a quick assessment, make sure the scene is safe, and then you're going to holster your pistol. Now, if you do that enough times, you are not going to have to think about it. The old adage is like you need to do like 10,000 reps of a certain thing to ingrain muscle memory. The reality is, like, it may be a whole lot less for some people that maybe they are more of a tactile learner. They learn things more quickly through kinesthetic action. Or maybe you're not so kinesthetic of a learner and it maybe takes you a little bit more. I would say 10,000 repetitions is like a bit much, at least for me it is, to have something ingrained as muscle memory. And obviously more is better when it comes to getting in reps. More is better. So if you train enough with your selected pistol, you train to use the safety, under stress you're going to use the safety, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing that every time that pistol comes out, the safety gets disengaged when it is in a safe direction. That is an awesome thing. So at the end of the day, in the absence of a physical safety, the holster is a safety. Now, how about overcoming the hurdle? If you're the type of person that doesn't carry with around in the chamber, how do we overcome it? The answer to that is to seek training. Seek training. Because what this is, the root cause of not carrying with a round in the chamber, every time it's a lack of training. And some people are going to like bring in the whole like, well, what does the IDF do? Like, they don't carry with around the chamber, blah, blah, blah. What I would caution is this: don't bet your life on something that someone does in a faraway nation, okay? It is much better to bet your life on skill and competence, okay? Mindset, skill, and competence. That's what you can bet your life on. Now, At the end of the day, training builds competence. And competence builds confidence. And what this is, with the whole carrying without a round in the chamber thing, this is a lack of competence, which bred into a lack of confidence. Confidence in the fact that it is completely safe to carry with a round in the chamber, and confidence that you can draw and take care of a bad guy that is doing some sort of nefarious act, to be able to do that on command under stress. So this comes back to training, and like there's like a whole ecosystem of training, right? The nucleus is you, right? And closest to that nucleus, that outer wall of that nucleus, that is like the local concealed carry permit instructor, or the local pistol trainer, rifle trainer, whatever. That's what you should seek first if you have not already done so. And then outside of that, kind of like in the sphere around that center nucleus, in that sphere are all of the most like highly recognized like firearms instructors in the country, firearms trainers that they teach high-level pistol weapons and tactics classes. They do force-on-force classes. That's where eventually you need to go. If you're taking the craft of carrying a pistol very seriously, I highly recommend seeking high-level training from one of the best, like, trainers in the country. Like, find one that you like. Maybe you follow them on YouTube. Maybe they say a lot of the things that you think are logical, and then you go train with them. So in closing, please like and subscribe and share this video with your friends. That really helps us with the algorithm. That also helps this message reach people that are carrying a gun. It's not chambered. It's not very safe to do that. And this helps get that video in front of the people that need to see it. Because again, I would argue that most of the people watching this video, if you're already like subscribers to the channel and you're familiar with 1791 and what we do, you're probably that cat that already carries chambered. So please share this with people that maybe are outside of our ecosystem, so that we can get proper information in front of them. Until next time, guys, train hard and carry your gun.